Paltrocast.
How was your day
Darren.
so far? Good
How are
day?
you doing?
No, I asked you first. You have to answer first.
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Well, that photo shoot that you posted on Instagram within the last 24 hours, what rooftop or balcony was that?
Oh, that was in Miami.
Oh, okay. Because I associate you with New York, and we're going to come back to that in a little bit. But
Okay.
let's talk about Power Book Ghost. Now, this is the epitome of a cult show. It's one of those shows where you either watch every universe series of it, every episode, you know, every character, or you've never heard of it. When did you realize it was such a fanatical show and universe in general?
Well, I heard about Power for the entire time it was on. People were telling me how wonderful it was. And I just didn't get on the Power train until after it was off the air and Power Book 2 started, Ghost. And I thought, let me just check it out. And then once I started watching the whole thing, I was hooked, and I was a little bit stunned at how much I heard from about Power and Power Book 2 from specific people, but not like, I felt like it deserved a lot more recognition. And I feel it was really overlooked. But anyway, when they asked me if I wanted to come aboard, I was like, yep, really happy.
How much of you, the human being, is there in the character and vice versa?
I feel Evelyn is very honest, I think, about her feelings. She's vulnerable in this world where it's kind of crazy to be vulnerable, because you could die, you know, any minute. But she's vulnerable, and she's honest, and she deals with Monet as a woman. And I think that is the way I would be if I were in that situation. So I feel that that's very much one of my characteristics, just being open and honest.
Got it. Well, can I give you a compliment? I mean, some people don't want compliments when they're doing interviews.
No, I don't want a compliment. Thank you. Of course I would. Sure, why not, man?
Okay, so the work that you do on this show is so incredible to me because of knowing your Broadway background, that you were in Into the Woods and all that, the musical theater world that you came from, and Broadway and all that.
Wow.
What exactly was the bridge for you to go from that to such serious roles as we see on this show and Dexter?
For me, it was a natural progression. I started out as a dancer. And so I got my first gig when I was 17, a national tour, and did all of that stuff. And then it was a very seamless thing. You know, at the time, most performers I knew were what we call triple threats. You did dance, you did acting, and you did singing. And so I always had, you know, a bag with all of my tools. I had my 2 songs, 16 bars of an up-tempo, 16 bars of a ballad. I had jazz shoes and ballet shoes in my bag. You know, you're just prepared. And I feel like I was always prepared to do whatever I needed to do. And once I got my first film, which was I Like It Like That, it was such an incredible experience. I just wanted more of that. But for me, acting has always been my first love.
Now, I mentioned New York before. You're from Rockaway, if I've done my research correctly.
Right. That's right.
And so many people come from Rockaway, but never really you piece it together. Like, for example, Steve Stevens from Billy Idol's band is from there, and Ricky Byrd, who always played with Joan Jett, etc. Did you grow up around other people from the performing arts world?
No. No. I actually, the only person I know that is in Rockaway, I'm sorry, my cat is attacking me, is is Patti Smith. Lives in the Rockaways, and I'm always like, wow, that's pretty cool. But no, there's no one else that I know who is, you know, in show business that grew up in the Rock. But it's a cool place to be.
And then I'm dialing in from just about 5 miles away, although it takes probably 40 minutes to get to the Rockaways, from Long Beach, Long Island. Was this a place that you had spent any time growing up?
No, but there is a particular curve on the road where the signs for Long Beach are just there. So I grew up seeing that sign almost every day.
And now that toll is up to $3 that
Yeah.
separates us from the Rockaways. So there you go. And of course, power is what we were set up to talk about. But you have this little indie movie called Spider-Man coming out in the near future. And I got the press release earlier from today from Sony, and I think you were the fourth name down on it or something like that. That must be a pretty exciting one to have not only that, but power and other roles as well.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's nice. And I really enjoy doing, I mean, the whole Spider universe is it's just wonderful and fun. And the messaging in the film is really great and important to me. This is the first superhero, the first Afro-Latino superhero that we have. And being his mom is really special.
So did you think that this many years into your career would be arguably the peak of your career?
I feel like I've always known I'm a late bloomer, always have been.
Yeah.
And you know, I hope it's not the peak. I'm expecting to just keep, going and going and for things to get better. That's the hope.
Well, no offense is meant with the peak comment. When by
No,
that I
take
mean,
it.
a lot of people when they start out and they get that first big roll or two, they go, well, can't get any better than this. And for you, it keeps blooming and getting better. It's very exciting to see. And the last question I have for you before I let you go, besides Power, because we know that Power Book 2 Ghost is the best show on television, of course. What's the second best show? Do you have a recommendation? Maybe something on the Stars Network?
Second best show on TV right now. It's not for me. It's not on the Stars Network. Actually, I don't know. There's a lot of good stuff out there, but I'm at the moment watching the last season of Succession.
I
Which in
hear that's a great
ways,
one.
these family dramas, I mean, with all of this stuff that's going on, it's sort of in some ways it's the same. This is, this has crime in it. And that's the angle, right? This is money and the 1% in this country and all the insane things that go on in that world, so they're different and yet there's so many similarities,
Yeah, well, thank you for that recommendation. Haven't started watching that one yet, but again, congratulations on working your way up from guest star to recurring on a great show like this, Spider-Man, etc. Looking forward to whatever's coming next.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Paltrocast.